How are you? Hello, hey! Thank you. I don't know why I have an extra microphone now. I'm going to shut that one down. So, because... I mean, obviously, everyone in Poland knows you, but I still want you to introduce yourself because we have some foreign speakers and maybe some foreign people that don't know you, so I want you to introduce yourself first. I'm sure, it's not on for some reason. Hold on. No. Can you put me on this one? Yeah, you should be good.
Hi.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that most of you guys are now thinking, who the hell is this guy? I'm supposed to know him or something. So I'm sure not like majority don't know me. So I'm Michał Sadowski. I'm a CEO and founder at Brand24. This is a company that does social listening. So whenever whoever talks about your startup, product, company, we collect the data and we give you the data. We allow you to track mentions about your company online. And we've been doing this for like past few years internationally. Yeah.
So can you explain, by the way, guys, this is not the right slide, but that's okay, never mind. But
it's okay,
we can invest,
going global.
We can do that actually if you want. I mean, I can wing it. What can you tell us exactly what Brand24 is and what kind of customers you have?
Sure. So we give you three major applications. Our product has three major applications. So one, you can understand your customers because you see people talking about your company like this is very raw data. So you actually see their shares, their likes, whatever, right? But the second thing is you can contact your customers to get to engage them and get very, very loyal users and over time to get brand ambassadors that will promote your company organically. And the third one is to get sales. So even if you're a small company, there's not a lot of messages about you. You can leverage marketing to access discussions relevant to your business. So for example, Bitspiration organizers could target all the discussions about cool conferences in Poland from IT space or startup space, and they could engage and promote their 2016 edition conference to get more, to sell more tickets, to get more exposure, etc.
What is your traditional customer though? I guess it's not Bitspiration. Who is your traditional customer or the ideal customer?
Well, online companies are typically the majority of our customers, but it's it's hard to find a niche or an industry that's not using this sort of tools in general. So we have like 1,200 customers from over 40 countries. Yeah, but again, like it's I feel bad about talking about this because I feel like promoting my own company rather than providing.
No, I know, but the reason I'm asking you is that I've been coming to Poland for what, now 7 or 8 years. I'm trying to remember when it was the first time, and it was a very different... How old is your company?
It's 5 years operations, but first 3 years were only in Poland. So it was only a local product.
Okay, this is exactly where I'm going to. This is why I wanted you to set the foundation of what your company does, because what I've seen over these past 7 to 8 years, I've seen, at the beginning, to be honest, I'll be a bit blunt, there was almost nothing when I first came to Poland. There was very few companies, they were very inward-looking, then some companies started to pop up, like yours, for instance, and then I've seen this movement of going international, and the reason I was asking you about the type of customer and because you're also a blueprint. Other companies want to emulate, maybe not exactly what you do in terms of the product, but emulate your path. How you went from a very local company, I mean, Poland is a big market, so it's already very good to be a good local company, to a more global company. So how hard was that? Did you suddenly have international clients and you became an international company, or was it something you actually implemented? Did you do engineer to go international?
So we always hoped to be a global company, and the product was intended to be launched as a global company from day one. But we started to get, we had a little outside funding. We had a little money, and we started to have customers from Poland. So they grabbed our attention, like full attention, early on, and they kept our attention for first 3 years. We started to work on the global product, but apparently the technical challenge was huge because with our type of business, collecting mentions about thousands of companies from all over the world is very challenging from the technical standpoint, because we have like 7 billion mentions in our database, and to be able to show them within a few seconds to any customer, it's super difficult. So it took a lot of time and effort to get there. But I feel like companies in Poland have a problem with their goals and their ambitions. And
Go ahead.
This was our major problem. If you asked me 5 years ago what would be a success, I would say surviving, or like having $1 million in revenue would be so cool, because I could probably afford to pay my mortgage and not to have any more debts from my co-founder or whatever, right? So this was my goal, to create a company that would either survive or get 1 million in annual revenue. And I don't think that it changed that much if you talk to the startups here. Some of them maybe they're already educated, so they know that they're supposed to say that it's $100 million in annual revenue or $1 billion, because it's something that investors want to hear. But I'm sure that not even deep down, they all hope just to survive. And this is a major problem. This is a major difference between us and people in Silicon Valley. It's not all about like modesty. It's just that they really aim high. They target 100 million in annual revenue. This is their goal. While again, our goal is way smaller. So this is something I work. I hope to change within myself. And
did you change already?
I think I did, but it was very gradual. So but if we started our product globally from early on, we would be way bigger now. We would probably I don't know, be 3-4 times bigger than we are now, because we see that customers outside Poland, they grow really fast. Even though the Poland grows really fast for a company, outside Poland, it's way easier to get customers, to get sales. You don't have to meet people. You already have to have a Skype call. They're very accustomed to credit cards, email, communication only, whatever. So we would probably be much bigger company if we decided to go global from the early days. But we decided to play it safe, and here we are.
Well, you make also a call between the fact that you had no funding, thus customers from Poland, you needed funding. Did you look for funding?
We did.
And?
They said we're not matching their investment criteria, or the polite words, right? And like the off-topic, or like second-hand information was that we are like 12 monitoring tool in Poland and like 112 globally. So there's no need for yet another monitoring tool. And there's nothing different about our products, yada yada.
Blah blah blah. Yeah.
So
investors.
We talked to like 5 or 6 or 7 of those, and they all said no.
But do you think it would be different today? Because if you are, let's put it a different way. If you were to start the same company today, you set the goals, having a much broader vision and a much broader ambition when you start. Would you think it would be different? Do you think that investors today in Poland, for instance, there's not only investors in Poland, you have them in Germany and in London and everywhere, but do you think they will be more receptive, or do you think they would still have the same type of answer? And I'm not talking about your product, but in general, because you've matured as a person, the ecosystem is mature as a person, but investors have also matured, right?
I mean, they were not that wrong about not investing. I mean, from the hindsight is bad for them, but we had a little track record before, or we had some success, but not in software space. Those were smart people, so I think they had a lot of arguments not to invest. If they were to invest today, I think that the arguments would be similar. If there would be no track record that we have now. But for another round, we just raised a round in December, and it was.
Where from? Here?
Yeah, but in Poland. Yeah, and it was easy. We had almost every VC wanting to talk. Some did like. Some would love to invest. Some would love. Some were unhappy with amount of shares we wanted to sell because we wanted to sell only 5%. So, but everyone was interested. Everybody was willing to talk, unlike 5 years ago. So.
Well, then again, it's easier to be willing to invest when actually there's some success behind it, because obviously then everybody wants a piece of the pie. So it doesn't mean anything. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean that certainly they're good. Certainly they just see that you're successful. But you haven't answered, because I want to go back to this, and then we'll come back to investors. But when you started having international customers, was it an accident that suddenly you had, or was it because you translated everything in English, or was it something you actually did, and suddenly you decided, oh, this market is not enough, I want to grow, or was it, oh, we have an international customer, we should do something about it? How did it go?
So we always wanted to go global, and our first customers were targeted in very personal, outbound manner. So unlike now. Now it's fully or like mostly automated. We get leads from inbound marketing, then our customer success works with leads and converts them to actual customers. Early on, it was more about getting leads. So asking an agency from New York whether they would love to test our product or not. So it was very manual. And I feel like every startup, every founder should go through this phase, because it's very powerful, because you're very close to customers. I talk to a lot of startups that once they have product, they match the product with like a call center company to put sales in place, and they try to sell, which is really a bad idea, because they don't know how to talk to customers, and the founders are the best people to talk to customers anyway. So we personally talked to our first customers. Our first customer was a prom dress manufacturer in New York called Faviana, and yeah, they like the product, and you just have to make enough interactions to get first sales. So it was similar in Poland. In Poland, I did like 3,000 emails or Facebook messages, personalized messages to people saying like, hey, I would if you could test my product, it will help you with this. I would be really honored. And like 1,000 of those people from this 3,000 messages decided to test the product. And then from this 1,000, 40 bought in the first month, then 60 in the month to follow. And it was very similar in the US. So it was firstly very unscalable, very personalized. But over time, we built marketing automation, around it based on this communication.
I guess the other thing, because everybody says that every freaking advisor would tell you, you need to have customers not only to make revenue, we heard that many times this morning, but also because you need to iterate your product. So when you were talking directly to these customers, did you start changing or altering what you were offering, not only about the pricing itself, but about the product, because suddenly you realize that, oh, we're not going the direction we thought we should be going, we should actually, did you do that? Did you have to do this?
Sure. I mean, this is, I still do that. I still talk through live chat with our customers. Every now and then. Yeah, even though we have like 40 people on board, because you have to be, I used to work in Pizza Hut, and the restaurant manager, every month he had to talk to, he had to do one shift as a waiter and one shift as a chef.
Yeah.
Just so he could
be close to the action, yeah.
And I try to do the same thing, because there are so many insights that you will lose while looking at the Excel data only and not talking to your customers actually. So, for example, lately we're trying to improve our conversion from trial users into paid users. So I sent like personal messages to dozens of users who didn't buy my product. And I was like, hi, Mats. My name is Mike. I'm a CEO. I'm doing research. I wanted to learn why didn't you choose my product, right? And I'm getting amazing insights, amazing info. What should we fix to get more customers, right? So never put yourself outside this loop, outside the circle. Always try to learn yourself more about customers.
You said you had 40 people. I mean, I work with several startups, including B2B SaaS startups. And one of the biggest thing, you have to create a culture of the customers. You have to have every single conversation that happens within a company has to be somewhat related to the customer. It cannot be always about just the customer, but somewhat. What you do yourself as a founder, being in touch with the customer, do you have other people in your team do that, even though they're not in sales, even though they might be just a coder? Do you try to implement that? Hey, at the end of the day, what you have to think about is the customer. Do you do that? Do you try to do this?
Sure. There are a couple of tools that allow you to help you to do that. You know, with Slack, you can easily give your developers access to mentions about your company or feedback from your customer. But it's something we still work on, and I still feel like we have a long way to go in terms of developers understanding customer needs better than they do these days. Because at the moment there's somewhat a distinction between product and customer support people and programmers, and this is something we're tackling now. This was also related to our distributed structure. We are based in Warsaw, Wrocław, Gdańsk, Czech, Gniezno, Suwałki, and a couple of other cities. So the majority of the communication is remote, and this might be one of the problems that we have with the flow. So developers could understand customer perspective.
So you just mentioned that you are present in all these cities, which I gather are all cities in Poland. I've invested in 2 startups in Poland, and basically they relocated their headquarters in San Francisco while maintaining a team. Is that something that, because I know it's an open question for a lot of startups, of course in Poland, in every country in Eastern Europe, should we move not London, Berlin, of course New York or San Francisco, keep the team here for cost reason, but also for lifestyle reason? Is that something you thought about doing? Is it something you don't need to be doing, or?
We think about it a lot, and we talked about it a lot, because this is something that's very, like, we're supposed to do that. At certain level, you're supposed to move your headquarters to Silicon Valley or New York and do business from there. But I don't feel it. I can promise that I'll never move away from Poland. And I encourage everyone else to do similar, because we have huge advantage these days. We obviously have less access to capital, so all the VCs, all the talent, all the cool people who took the companies from 0 to 100 million in annual revenue, most of those people are based in Silicon Valley, so it's cool to be there and to have access to all this knowledge and capital. But again, raising $3 million in Silicon Valley can help you, like, you'll burn this money in a year, and in Poland you'll burn this money in like 4 years. So we have a huge advantage now, or one of the key advantages now, to do startups from here with way lower costs and with no need to talk to your customers in person on site. You know, with businesses like SaaS, you can have customers in countries you were not aware of existing. Right? We have customers from countries like Belize. I had no idea Belize is a country before. So this is a huge advantage that shouldn't be omitted. For me, one of the major benchmarks in this is either live chat. They have also 40, 50 people, fully based in Poland. They don't have a soul in the US, and they have 14,000 customers worldwide. CD Projekt, They're fully based in Poland, and they're like probably the closest company in Poland to get to unicorns status with like 1 billion zloty valuation. So I feel like moving to Silicon Valley would, in a way, we would lose one of the key advantages we can use to outmaneuver those guys that are better funded, they have access to knowledge, etc.
But is there not pressure from some of the VCs here to move you there?
There is, especially if you're trying to raise more than seed round. Like the seed round, there are really cool VCs in Poland, really cool people, and they have also a track record, so they did this sort of business before. If you want to raise Series A or Series B, like from $5 million upwards, then it's really difficult to find VCs in Poland.
Your latest round of funding, was it what? Was it a seed or?
It was small. It was 30 million zloty valuation.
So was it a seed round or was it
It was more or less seed round.
A seed round, okay.
So now probably early next year we will raise a proper A round, and it's very unlikely, maybe not very, but it's somewhat unlikely we'll raise this money in Poland. So we will have to. It would be either a co-investment between Polish VCs and VCs from Germany, UK, whatever. Because maybe US VCs, but they are very focused on moving team or like the core team to US because they know the law. They would like to attend the board meetings in person rather than over Skype, etc.
So sorry, because I'm going to be challenging a bit here on purpose. Why do you need the funding?
So we know that putting X into our marketing gives us 4 or 5X in customers over 2 years. So we raised a little over 1 million zloty last year, so like 500K in dollars. Later last year, we are in the process of spending this, putting this into our marketing. We see that it still works, so it's scalable, and we still are getting 5x on output. So now the goal is to put not 500K an input, but like whatever, $5 million.
But you're profitable?
Yes, sure. Well, again, we had a little outside funding from the day one. We had like probably $70K throughout 3 years of our existence, 3 first years. So we were always very, very strict about costs. So yeah.
So you mentioned you didn't have at first these global ambitions and you kind of wish that you were doing it sooner. Does that explain why? Because that's the other thing I see. It's in Poland, not only in Poland, but sometimes the pace at which companies grow is not that fast at the beginning. You see in of course, in the Silicon Valley, which is probably outlier examples, but you see these very, very rapid growth from 0 to 100 extremely rapidly. From the story I seem to be hearing from you, it went smoothly at the beginning and suddenly it exploded. So were you not profitable at the beginning, or why did you take so much time? Because maybe you didn't have the right ambitions at the beginning, or?
The biggest challenge in starting a global company was the technical issues, but also having the team in place to build the global product. We always reinvested the growth from the revenue back into the company. So we started just like 2 or 3 of us, and then we hired some additional team when we saw that our monthly recurring revenues were past a certain level. And I feel like the biggest jump we made, the leap we made, was welcoming on board Mick, who's our now like a partner, a shareholder, and the chief revenue officer within the company. He did this sort of thing before, and even though we couldn't afford him at the moment, we like borrowed the money. We cut the costs so we can have him on board, and he was like, his arrival was the breaking point for and the release for the true release for the global product, because then it had like a major persona who was running the global version.
So I'm going to open the floor for maybe 2 or 3 questions, but before I'm going to re-ask, I'll let you again. If you were to do it all over again, because that's also a lesson for guys or girls that would like to start a company now or are in the process of starting a company now, what would you 2 or 3 things you would do totally different that you've lesson learned is that, okay, if I had to start the same company today, this I would be totally different.
Sure.
Would you hire maybe that revenue guy much earlier or something? I don't know.
Sure. So I would definitely trust in data more than we did. For first 3 years of our business, our registration form had like 70% bounce rate.
Oh wow!
Because there was some fuck up in the form, and we thought that Google Analytics whatever is for like more mature companies that have already like huge revenues and they're optimized the onboarding or the flow of users to squeeze more revenue, and we like it cost us like 2 days of work to make it right, and the bounce rate went down from 70 to 25%.
Oh yeah.
So we had 3 times more customers with the same traffic, and you can imagine how pissed we were, for having this fuck up for 3 years, right? So I would definitely start with analytics early on. There's nothing like implementing analytics too early. At some point, if you're running startup, it can save your business. It can literally help you with surviving, just because you know how to tweak the product and how to make it a viable, profitable, whatever, right? So that would be one thing. Another thing would be we would start global really earlier. It was very, very hard to start a global version when we did, but I would borrow more money. I would, sell a kidney, whatever, to start with the global product earlier than we did. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm super lucky with people I've met and that I've co-founded this company. Believe me, I'm like 100% sure that the company would die a long time ago if I was the only one running the business. And even though I take like the majority of the credit from PR's perspective, I shouldn't. There are people who help this company to survive. So yeah, meeting right people would be also very important early on. But this apparently we did right. Maybe having Mick sooner would be cool. But again.
Again. So I'm going to allow maybe 2, depending on the length, 3 questions from the crowd, because it's actually pretty big. Please raise your hand if you have a question. I'm going to sell the first one against a kidney. No, my kidney is really bad. I've been drinking too much alcohol in my life. This guy over there. Well, because I come to Poland, you guys feed me with vodka every time I come here. It's your fault, guys. Go ahead. Can you raise your hand? Please state your name, please.
My name's Tom. My question is, during the past 5 years, was there a time where you were close to giving up?
Not really. But we were lucky to have first customers in the first month we released the product, right? We said we launched payments in September, and in September we had first 40 customers. But there was a lot of thoughts like this before we launched the product, right? So when we were bouncing off the VCs, they were all saying we're not good enough, or the product is not good enough, or there's no chance that it will be successful locally or globally. Never. Yeah. Then I had a lot of thoughts, and what's really funny is that if someone invited me to join his company, even as a programmer for 3K in a month in zlotys, I would go there. I would leave the company, Brand24, whatever, and I would go there because I was just that short on money. I had a lot of debts. I had a kid coming, and I had 12 months with no pay. So yeah, that was hard. But luckily, all the friends I had, like from industry, from my previous companies, were not really that big friends. Because even though I asked them for a job, they wouldn't have me. I remember at one point we tried to give Brand24 like 100% of the company for free, just so they would put us on payroll, so we could have money to pay mortgage or whatever. They wouldn't have it either, right? So good thing that they didn't, and good thing that I hadn't had many friends back then.
You always have more friends when you're successful, suddenly.
Yeah. For some reason.
I'm gonna have another question if somebody wants to pick it up. There, no, I'm not sure. Are you yawning or are you raising your hand? I'm not sure actually. So. Over there, I see a question next to the wall there. Thank you. Do you have a free tier product or is it?
A free trial.
Yeah, free trial.
Yeah, 14 days.
14 days,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So I have 14 days to try your service. Go ahead, please.
Hi, are you already at the stage of starting something new, or that's in the next years to come?
No, well, even if I were, I wouldn't say it here because my investors or shareholders are listening. But I can promise you, like hands on the heart, that I'm not. I would be actually stupid to do that because at the moment, the brand is the major chance for creating something huge and something like that will internationally be recognized as a really cool company, really something good. And to do this kind of business, you have to focus. With my previous company, I was running like 8 projects in the same time, and none of them were good. And so I feel like you have to really, really focus. You have to wake up and go to sleep every day thinking about one brand, one product, one company. So I wouldn't dream about stuff. I do have ideas, and I hate to waste them in a way, but it would be unwise to leave brand at this point.
Okay, unless somebody raises his hand, I'm going to close it because, of course, we're already running late. Oh, yes, I'm going to allow the last one over there. Thank you, by the way. So we will have a last question. And thank you for all sticking with us, though we're a little bit late on schedule. Go ahead.
Hi, I have a question. So as a startup with limited resources, do you believe that it's better to invest in a pull on the market, which requires bigger budget, or it's save it and go with like medium level people with less experience, or this better people, top people will give faster growth for the company?
So you mean like hiring?
Yes.
Do you hire top people or you? It depends. It's probably a very definite answer, right? So if you can have someone that did that already and have a like proven track record of building company or like building sales team from 0 to whatever is your goal, then you should be really focused about hiring this person. But the whole team around it, because you have to build a team around this person. The whole team, I recommend you use people that are fresh. We are super successful with people who are fresh, who like this is their first job within Brand24, or like first paid job or first full-time job. I feel like they're hungry. They're like, I wouldn't like to say anything bad about people who come from like corporations or whatever, but like I love this freshness about those people. They're never looking for excuses. They are never looking for things that can prohibit you from finishing the task. They're very blunt. they don't know that they're not supposed to, you know, skip the several ways of levels of management, so they get to you. So yeah, so I would suggest the combination. So get one person, or like the important person that did that before, and it can be very expensive person, but build around a team that's fresh and that's open to learn. I feel like we did that, and we are happy about the results. Don't know if it helps, hopefully.
And on that, guys, thank you so much. Mike?
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
By the way, if you have any questions, I'm afraid I'll be running away, but just shoot me a Facebook message, email, whatever, I'm all yours. I'm responding to every message. So talk to you then.
Thank you. Thanks, mate.